guys, Liam and Michelle.
Hello.
I'm sorry.
We're going to Britain. And I would really like to use a Yorkshire accent, but I still haven't.
We're still working on the Yorkshire accent.
I'm sorry.
No, we're not even close on that one.
Very hard, but
It's very difficult. Okay.
Listen to it all day.
Yes. All right. So, several of you have sent us. As soon as I woke up this morning, I had every it was Barry, Horatio, David, and Justin. You all sent this particular thing by Nigel Farage, and we want to bring it to you. So, if you're just joining us, I just did a big long spiel. We're going to put it at the end. We're going to reverse it because you want to hear straight from Nigel. So we're going to go there first.
On behalf of the EFDD group, the floor goes to Mr. Farage.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, it may have taken 9 months, a pretty full gestation, but be in no doubt that last Wednesday was a great historic day when the United Kingdom announced that we were going to become an independent, self-governing, democratic nation once again, an act that has been cheered by hundreds of millions of people all over the world. Then we've had a little history lesson this morning from Mr. Verhofstadt. You made one mistake. In 1973, sir, we did not join the European Union. We joined the European Economic Community. And had the British people known that it was intended to get political and take away our ability to govern ourselves, we never would. Now, I'm sorry to say that the response to the triggering of Article 50 has been all too predictable. Already you've made a series of demands that are not just unreasonable, but in some cases clearly impossible for Britain to comply with. You began by telling us that we have to pay a bill. A cool 52 billion sterling, a figure that has clearly been plucked out of the air, effectively a form of ransom demand. What you could have acknowledged is that we put net over 200 billion sterling into this project. We're actually shareholders in this building and the rest of the assets, and really, you should be making us an offer.
We'd like a refund, please.
He's about to say, and I'm going to steal his punchline because I love it. Make us an offer that we can't refuse.
Offer we can't refuse to go. And the ever-charming Mr. Verhofstadt, the Parliament's chief negotiator, in his resolution that we're to vote on later today, tells us that we cannot discuss potential trade deals with anybody else in the world until we've left the European Union.
Who doesn't plan? Like, here's the thing. You have to stay in your house
for 2 years.
and you can't plan on where you're going to go. And as soon as you leave, you pack up all your stuff on one day
and figure out where you're going.
and figure out, yeah, this is so retarded.
That has no basis in treaty law whatsoever.
Here.
It's rather like saying you can't guarantee yourself a dwelling for when you leave prison, and I trust the British government will completely ignore you. And of course, Mr. Tusk, who is not with us today, I suspect that he's still crying. He looked pretty tearful, didn't he, after the British ambassador delivered the letter last week. He tells us in his memorandum that any future trade deal must ensure that the United Kingdom is not allowed to have a competitive advantage. This is all impossible, and you add to that the hypocrisy of, on the one hand, saying the EU will negotiate as one, and clause 22 of the Tusk document saying that actually Gibraltar, that the Spanish can have a total veto over the whole trade deal if they're not happy with the sovereignty of Gibraltar. We believe in national self-determination. Your aim and ambition is to destroy nation-state democracy. Gibraltar is clearly a deal-breaker on current terms. You've shown yourselves with these demands to be vindictive, to be nasty. All I can say is thank goodness we're leaving. You're behaving like the Mafia. You think we're a hostage. We're not. We're free to go. We're free to go. And 85, and now I do understand.
Honorable Farage.
I do understand.
Honorable Farage.
Sorry, Mr. Farage. Well, listen, I'm trying to give you the chance to speak and say everything you want to say. But if you're talking about the Mafia, you're saying this Parliament behaving like Mafia. As far as I'm concerned, that's unacceptable.
Because my granddaddy is part of the Mafia and I take it personally.
I do understand. I do understand, sir. Mr. President, I do understand national sensitivities. I'll change it to gangsters. All right? And that is how we're being treated. We've been given a ransom note. But what must be very difficult for all of you to get into your minds is there is a bigger world out there than the European Union. 85% of the global economy is outside the European Union. And if you wish to have no deal, if you wish to force us to walk away from the table, it is not us that will be hurt. Do you know, we don't have to buy German motor cars. We don't have to drink French wine. We don't have to eat Belgian chocolate. There are a lot of other people that will give that to us. A return to tariffs will risk the jobs of hundreds of thousands of people living in the European Union, and yet what you're saying is you want to put the interests of the European Union above that of your citizens and your companies. And if you continue with that route, it won't just be the United Kingdom that triggers Article 50, there'll be many more to come.
Boom! Dude!
Laid down the smack. Oh,
What?
I forgot to tell you that Trump says that he wants to work with Great Britain.
The president is very well steeped in world affairs, especially Europe, NATO, all of the issues. He was a leader in the effort to call Brexit, as you know. I mean, and obviously with respect to that, we respect the will of the British electorate and Her Majesty's government in taking steps of departing the European Union, whatever future the UK-EU relationship looks like. We want the UK to remain a strong leader in Europe, for both the UK, the EU, and Europe to remain strong leaders globally. So.
And he read that from a paper, but that's cool because I'm glad that he took time to write it out.
And right here, Farage is saying
In
that
the middle.
the bill
and maybe
is just ridiculous.
You know, I'm all for both sides giving a bit and finding some common, sensible ground in the middle. And maybe if they'd asked for 5 billion or 10 billion, we could have sat down and had a negotiation. 52 billion. It's a figure that has literally been plucked out of the air. Twice today, I challenged him to say how they come up with that number. An answer, there came none. It is a ludicrous figure. You can't negotiate on that basis.
That I listened to that whole interview there with I don't even know who this is. I listened to it. Some sugar girl who isn't it bad that you called them the Mafia? I mean, really, how? And it was just a weird interview with her. It was interesting. Now what?
Okay, so I want you guys to know that this Michelle's gonna turn ditzy because when I get a little bit awestruck, that happens. It happens to the best of us. But here's the thing, guys. Our friend Britt Baza, aka Barry, sends us a ton of links. Thank you, Barry. He had originally contacted Nigel. Do you guys remember when I put out the surprise video for Leah? And he said, these girls, this girl's trying to get a phone call in. They have this YouTube channel, yada, yada, yada. So he sends him an email. This is on the 28th of February or something. It goes back a ways. Well, just a few days ago, Nigel actually responds to his email. And here's what he says. Dear Barry, they rang into my show a couple of weeks back. I will always be happy to hear from them. Yours sincerely, Nigel Farage. So, there you have it. My face is probably getting red. I am breaking out in a sweat. I am so excited. He knows who we are. He remembers us. I had said, I bet he has people that respond, for him, etc. But then someone else said, you know what, it was short. So it was probably from Nigel. And I'm going to go with that because it makes me feel awesome. So there you go.
It makes me embarrassed, actually.
I think it's fantastic. He remembers it. He remembers us. And he will always be happy to hear from us. I don't want to misquote the Farage.
Right.
Right. All right.
Thank you for writing in.
Yes, thank you.
For it. That was.
Very.
I know some other.
You're fantastic. I know many of you did too, but that one actually got a response, which is terribly exciting and humbling.
Terribly exciting.
Even if it was just his people,
it was
people
funny.
remembered us.
This is actually you sent me the email and I said, Michelle, I can't read it. It's too embarrassing. You tell me what it says.
It was awesome.
Okay, so we'll put your thing at the end. We'll add it in.
Okay.
Michelle did a really good thing when she talked about the EU, but we're talking about farming. And
our friend Stacy sent that to you for your birthday last year.
This is an incredible book, and it's how to
it's gonna be out of focus. Bring it to you. Bring it to yourself.
How to become a market gardener. how to become a market gardener. And literally it shows you how to make the biggest bang for your buck, and on small acreage, how you can grow organic food, and it breaks things down. This is the best if you ever wanted to be a farmer, a smaller time farmer without the big giant.
But why are we
machinery.
talking about farming? How did we get there? So pay attention, because we're going to split this and reverse it. And then we're going to take a pause here.
We're back.
Now put the book down so we can end it.
But I didn't get to explain this very much.
Oh, okay. You want to finish explaining it?
Yeah, because Michelle did her thing on the farm, and now I wanted to do my thing on the farm in the EU. Because it's really, really, really important. When Nigel Farage mentioned Belgian chocolate and French wine
and German motor cars.
One thing that is fantastic that happened for Russia with the sanctions on Russia is that, and Vladimir Putin will tell you this, we realized that, this is Vladimir Putin speaking, we realized that we were getting all of our goods and all of our food from other countries, and that's why the sanctions hurt in the short term.
Right.
But what it increased is their own dependence upon themselves, their own self-reliance, and they have grown in their organic gardening in organics, and
No, I was just saying, Michelle, turn the cup.
Oh.
Larry's oh. Have his face.
and they want to become completely food self-sufficient. In the 90s, everything was cool from the West. They were importing all this food,
right?
Things from America, and they realized it was very unhealthy for them to be importing food from America, because it really is. And like we told you before, we've been to Russia, we've been to the farmers markets, and the food is fresh and it's organic. And Putin, they did this thing where they gave land away to their citizens, and you could keep what you grew on it, and they were producing like all their food on these tiny plots of just a few acres, and you could
There's so much that you can do on 1 acre. We just have 1 acre, and we have
a tenth.
An acre and a tenth, and we do so much on it. So
exactly, and so what I'm hoping for you guys in Great Britain is that you will again have a renaissance of not just the market garden, but your own goods. There's a difference between being economically stable and getting up and doing a job, and here in America, everybody pretty much works 8-hour jobs or 10-hour jobs, and their minds are numb, and they're not happy, and they're not healthy. And when you can work with your own 2 hands and begin to trade with one another, that's how real economies are built. What we have right now is these fake economies that benefit only the large corporations.
And they also have the ability to send lobbyists to Washington to shut down the small farmer or the small baker or the whatever. Right. They have an agenda. They push it. They have the money. They have the ability to do it, and then it pushes out and regulates the small time farmer.
Okay, so
we'll just sign it off here, and then we'll put that at the end. But before we do, I want to bring you this quote that Barry had sent to me. He said, "I don't know whether I've sent you this, but this engraving is actually engraved into the EU Parliamentary Buildings Visitor Centre. So this shows you where the EU's direction is going, i.e. another USSR, or as we in the UK know, that know about this are saying the EU SSR. If so, then this will be rather worrying for the USA. It says, national sovereignty is the root cause of the most crying evils of our time and of the steady march of humanity back to tragic disaster and barbarism. The only final remedy for this supreme and catastrophic evil of our time is a federal union of the peoples." Now, this was from the ending of the Armageddon in 1939.
Read that again. Read a couple portions of that.
Let me read it in Michelle. All right, it's going to make more sense. Y'all know what I sound like. All right. National sovereignty is the root cause of the most crying evils of our time and of the steady march of humanity back to tragic disaster and barbarism. The only final remedy for this supreme and catastrophic evil of our time is a federal union of the peoples.
That sounds like the Islamic State they're describing.
Exactly. Kind of does sound like that. But what you guys, let that sink in for a minute. They are saying that national sovereignty, and this, guys, this is why the liberals lost their minds when Trump came out during the inauguration and he said, you know what I'm going to do? Put America first. America first, America first. No! That's why you have the crying social justice warriors. Everybody's freaking out. You can't put America first. You can't put America first because national sovereignty is evil. The only thing that's going to solve all evils is a federal, worldwide union of all of the peoples.
But isn't national sovereignty of God?
Yes. National sovereignty comes directly from our Creator. Every country is sovereign, okay? America is sovereign, France, Great Britain, you guys are all sovereign nations that should be in control of everything that you do. As a matter of fact, Horatio was telling me today about the fact that they are not allowed to rotate crops. As far as he's pretty sure about this. In the UK, because of the EU, there are certain things that go along, and I said, but you guys left. I mean, can't we rotate crops now? I mean, as of Brexit, you know, we did, yay, Brexit. Rotate crops now.
Why is it important?
Why is it important? I'll tell you why it's important in a minute. But I guess we're waiting. This is why this is important. This is all wrapping together. It's important because they have to come to a deal, and I'm hoping that the deal happens before 2 years because them crops need to be rotated. And I will tell you from a farmer standpoint of view, why is it important that crops get rotated? Because when you have a monocrop in one area, it depletes the soil. Crop rotations, and specifically when you also rotate the crops with animals, that's the way it's supposed to be done. Of course, they would lose their minds if you did that. You can't have animals pooping on the land and then you're going to plant the crops there.
God forbid.
That it is the best if you can rotate crops because guess what? Beans put nitrogen back into the soil. Peas are also helpful, different things. But when you have a monocrop in one area, it completely rips the soil.
And it also causes disease.
Depletion. It causes disease. Different bugs will come and start hatching in that area. You
need to break the pest cycle.
You have to, and that's how farming has historically for thousands of years been done. Everybody knew.
But you're only allowed to plant certain things in certain nations, and there's a whole bunch that's into the EU that you can't, that it just rips apart your ability to wake up every day. It's not even your national sovereignty, it's your individual sovereignty. So we want to go to this. I think
there's a political agenda when it comes to farming. Horatio was pointing out that the fishing rights are actually even more important, he thinks, than the farming rights. But there's a political agenda, a globalist in this instance. In America, it's just a political agenda to control what people can and cannot plant with food, and we can go into this another time because we want to go straight to Nigel. This has been way too long.
I think we'll actually probably put this to the front, and we'll put your commentary on the back.
All right, we're signing off now for real. Goodbye. This is Michelle signing off for Resistance Chicks, where it's not a conspiracy theory, it is the truth. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell for notifications and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
I was called